Alan Bowie just released the greatest Gojo vs Sukuna fan animation I've ever seen. What sets him apart from the rest is that he storyboarded the fight. He didn't just copy and paste it from the manga. This feels anime level. But let me explain from the top. The fight starts off on the dance floor, clearly from Gojo's perspective, showing how truly unhinged bro is. He's in the middle of a 3v1 versus Sukuna, Mahoraga, and Agito, and bro is literally dancing in between the fight. And yes, while this isn't how it's depicted in the manga, I think it does a really good job at, again, showing how unhinged Gojo truly is, and how much he enjoyed fighting somebody who he could really go all out on. Like, look at this, Gojo is having the time of his life. They go back and forth like this for a while, trading blows on a techno dance floor, but don't worry, things do get incredibly serious. They both finally manage to land a blow on each other, and the music stops, the scenery changes, the animation changes, everything changes from that moment. The energy created from both of them landing a punch completely destroyed the building they're in, it destroyed the dance floor, all that techno shit was over. Now, Alan used a lot of CGI for this explosion, but I'm not gonna lie, for him being an independent animator, that shit is fire. It definitely reminds me of the Mahoraga vs Sukuna fight in the actual anime. After the explosion, they land outside and Sukuna begins taunting Gojo with Megami's voice, saying, "Save me, sensei, or else I'm gonna kill everybody you know and love." From that point, Gojo starts to take the fight a lot more serious. This is where the fight completely takes off and goes to that next level. Now, I saw a lot of people in the comments of the original video complaining that this isn't what we saw in the manga. And to be honest, that's my favorite part about it. I feel like he did a great job with the creative liberties he took. It did a great job telling the story, telling what's going on in both of the psyches of these fighters' heads without taking away from what we got in the manga. Which is exactly what we saw in the Sukuna vs Mahoraga fight, and it's exactly what we're going to see when Mappa animates the Gojo vs Sukuna fight. Right, here's another thing I really like. He did a great job at showing Sukuna's mastery over the 10 shadows. It wasn't just a 3v1 hand session against Gojo. Sukuna actually used 10 shadows and it was pretty cool the way they did it. Another thing he did really well was balancing this fight without making Gojo look too overpowered. Don't get me wrong, in the clips I'm showing, Gojo was absolutely cooking, but Sukuna was cooking too. We'll get to that in a second. Before we get to that, I do want to highlight his usage of impact frames. I mean, he used them at the perfect time and the perfect amount. One problem I see fan animators of this level have is that they'll overuse impact frames to make up for not being an official anime. So here's where we see the wheel on top of Mahoraga's head shift, and all my manga readers know exactly what that means. Bro understands it now, and this is where things get a little bit rough for Gojo. It's funny because as soon as Sukuna sees this, it's like his aura meter turns up 1000%. And y'all know me, I'm one of Gojo's greatest meat writers of all time. But even I was just sitting here in awe watching him get his ass whooped with one arm. I mean, Mahoraga and Sukuna were catching him slipping left and right. I mean, he was holding his own, don't get me wrong, respect to Gojo, but this is rough for anybody. Now, the things we didn't get to see in this fight that I was looking forward to will be the enhanced Hollow Purple. Now, the things we didn't really get to see in this fight were Hollow Purple and the domain clashes, but this is only part 1. Apparently, part 2 and the finale of this fight will be releasing in January, so hopefully we'll be getting all of those things. Make sure y'all go support bro on YouTube. I'll put his information in the comments below. He said he spent 4,000 hours on it, and you can definitely tell by how well it's come out so far.